Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the 2018 Premier International Women's Business Systems Summit, where you get to learn all about all the systems that our speakers are using to get things done. And we are going to continue our conversation now with Amy Lanci, all about how to love your body now. So, Amy, let's dive a little bit deeper into this conversation. Can we go back to the story inside your bio for just a moment?
Sure.
When I originally read that, you said that you based your value and your self-worth on how big or small your stomach was. What
hmm
percentage of women do you think are even on this summit or even in our world right now who are going through something very similar?
Gosh, I think if you ask any woman, including myself, it feels like it could be anywhere from 75 to 90%. I
Yeah.
mean, it just feels like it's a lot. And and I did remember reading a study a long time ago that said, was it they had women look at the mirror, and 9 out of 10 of them were dissatisfied with how they looked in the mirror. 9 out of 10 of them.
Wow.
It was a British study, and
That's 90%.
hmm hmm
Wow.
Yes. I mean, and I mean, obviously, this includes not just the stomach, it includes like other features of themselves,
Yeah.
but everything. But I do honestly think the majority of women, unfortunately, the vast majority of women, do not like how they look.
Yeah. Do you feel like that these feelings grow stronger? Because I know every woman goes through a monthly cycle, right? Where, our emotions go up and down, and this is how we kind of, go through life, right? We live in cycles. And so do you feel like these feelings tend to be stronger around those times during our cycle when we're feeling vulnerable or swollen or bloated or any of those sorts of things? Like I'm thinking, about myself and when I'm close to my monthly cycle, I always feel like nothing fits right?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. I mean, there is a physiological reason, like you're just like being blah. I feel swollen and bloated and not exactly myself. So there's that factor there. But then you're also emotionally vulnerable, and when you're emotionally vulnerable, it's not that you suddenly these issues just kind of fall from the air and they just never were a part of you. They were always in there. It's just that your inhibitions are down and you're feeling more vulnerable and you're just feeling all the feelings really and and it just all comes out, and when it all comes out it's just kind of like an avalanche, like when you pile too many things in your closet and you open the door and everything comes out and you're forced to just look at the pile and the mess that's on the floor, and it just makes you even sadder and you
Yeah.
don't know what to do about it, but it's out there for everyone to see, so you even feel even more insecure about that. So
Yeah.
you have the problems that come out, it's all there, you don't know what to do, and everyone can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. That totally makes sense to me because I can see how, a lot of times, I mean, I'm probably the world's worst. I let things build and build and build, and then all of a sudden it all implodes or explodes or whatever you want to call it. And then I'm just like, I need to retreat to my room and cry?
Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. Or it's just like uh, I just want to sit and I just want to eat chocolate. Oh gosh, I'm judging myself for eating the chocolate in the first place. What am I doing to myself? We've
Right.
all been there.
Totally, totally. So in the last interview, we talked about identifying some of the root causes of some of the body issues that we deal with in our world. So let's say that I've identified a root cause. What do I do about it? How do I address it?
Well, how you address it, it's more that the fact that you actually identified it is actually really therapeutic already. And depending on what it is, I would have to have a specific example, but
Right.
depending on what it is, you can finally make action steps to finally address that specific issue, because a lot of times the root causes are really hard to find, and I kind of likened it to the casting director, that the casting director who's behind the scenes, who is like calling out who gets to play what role on the stage, but you never see him, but he's
Yeah.
like super powerful, and he's the one that's kind of making all the calls of, what you see and what you don't see. And
Mhm. Yeah.
and you identify, like, no, that's not the actor, that's not actor one that's the problem, it's actually the casting director. Then you actually know what he looks like, like where he lives. I mean, like
Yeah.
what role he had to play, and then you're able to kind of just deconstruct from there. I know that sounds very vague, but it really depends on what the specific root cause is. And I guess we can go into an additional point is that, from what I learned, is that the root of body image issues is not guilt or shame. A lot of people think that that's the case. I actually look at them as like the distractions. The casting director in this case is fear. That fear is at the root of body image issues. When you think about it, it's like a fear of not being accepted, a fear of being seen, a fear of not being seen, a fear of not being accepted, fear of being rejected.
Mhm.
It's a fear of it's just a fear of being invisible or fear of not being good enough. And once you realize that it's not so much you're being weighed down by the shame or the guilt, it's that you're afraid. And once you know that you are afraid, you can start taking the steps toward, how can I not be afraid anymore? Or how can I be okay with being afraid?
So
As opposed
what I'm hearing you say is that this puts the power back in your hands to be able to then tackle that fear, to be able to then tackle whatever that root cause is, because now all of a sudden you've identified it, it's right in front of you, and you can say, okay, I'm not going to allow that to be a problem anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like you know what the problem is exactly. You know how to tackle it, and it's usually something that is within your control to
Mhm.
start working on you now. And sometimes when it comes to societal pressures, there's a need in us to want to fix society but society as a whole, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people, and it takes a lot of time for that. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the anchor on the boat, it's that's completely you. And when you identify it's something that is completely and utterly yours, you can start making those changes today, as opposed
Yeah.
to like, I'm waiting for everyone else to change. Like, well, no, actually you can change right now.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. Because
yeah.
you have that control. So let's talk for a minute about what you call this inner critic. What is an inner critic?
The inner critic is the voice inside that's constantly saying, like, you're not good enough, or you're ugly, or you're fat, or yeah, exactly, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
It's the naysayer inside of you. It's the one that, if you suffer from low self-esteem or not enough confidence, it's a thing in your head where, it's anyone else that actually is a naysayer in your life is it's the chorus. Like, basically it's the chorus with any other naysayers in your life, and that's including yourself. And,
Yeah.
and they're not it's not productive. It's the thing that's making you feel like a fraud. It's the thing that's keeping you back from doing what you want. And
Mm.
it's the thing that is making everyone else right and you wrong, when really that's not the case.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things you work with your clients on are decoding these inner critics, what you call one layer at a time. What does that mean, and how can we do it?
Well, for instance, it's just addressing that, addressing what they're actually saying first, and then just kind of keep going and realizing where that is coming from. Sometimes it's something someone else has said to you in the past. Sometimes it's things you heard on the TV all the time. Sometimes it's just things that people imply to you and you don't even realize it.
Well, and sometimes I think it can be a combination, right? It can be something somebody said, and then all of a sudden somebody else says something similar, quote unquote, validating what that person said. And then you're hearing these things in the media, which further validates when none of that has any validity at all to what's
Exactly.
really happening.
Exactly. Or another example, I was on a coaching call with another girl, and I was like, okay, tell me all the things you don't like about your body. And she started out with things like flabby, fat, ugly. Like, she just kept saying all these adjectives. And then eventually she said, falls a lot. And then she said, oh, I don't trust my body because she had been a cancer survivor and she had a history of falling a lot for no apparent reason. So then it made her not want to commit to things and made her feel like she's letting people down. And in a way, she didn't realize that all the ugliness she was putting on herself was just a reflection of how she didn't trust her body.
Wow. Wow. And that's something that you have control over that you can then change. So it's really interesting to me that by decoding these inner critics and being able to really get to that root cause, you're more empowered to move past this problem.
Yes, exactly. And I'm not saying that inner critic will like disappear completely like ever. I still have my inner critic and to
Yeah.
some extent he will always be there. But it's more a fact of like how quickly can you recover when the inner critic gets the better of you? How quickly can you recognize like this is not how I want to feel, this is not how I actually feel, this is not what I actually think. I mean, how quickly can you just grab that sword and just like, stab at the demons inside,
Right.
it's just a matter of how quickly can you bounce back or how quickly can you recognize it as opposed to like, nope, I never had anyone in my head ever saying anything bad to me ever again. It's like, no, I
Yeah.
never ever advocate that because that is not realistic.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, that totally makes sense. So you talk about that many women out here are living for someone else's approval and they need to stop that. What does this mean and how do we address this?
Well, for instance, let's talk about the selfie culture for a second, because I'm all for like, okay, if you want to go do something fun or you just happen to dress up on the rare occasion, like, yeah, it's fun to take a selfie and be like, hey, look at this. I did this for myself. That's great. But when it comes to that point where you're taking constant selfies every day and you're like looking constantly on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, to see how many likes you got because it's really important for you to get that validation from other people, then
Yeah,
you have to recognize that you can't validate yourself.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And that totally makes sense. And I think we do live in a world of, Facebook or Instagram happiness, Facebook or Instagram lifestyles, Facebook or Instagram or even Snapchat, like all of these different things that we create using all the apps that we use to create them. And I think that that does sometimes a disservice to us, even though we're able to keep up with those we're interested in following. There's
Hmm.
also a bit of a disservice because we're seeing their life or we're seeing their reality through whatever the filter is that they're using. And I think the reality is life is not filtered. Life is real in all of its chaos and craziness and beauty and creativity. It is real. And so by understanding that, it helps us to stop living for everyone else's approval and live for being real.
Exactly, exactly. And sometimes well, actually, not sometimes, a lot of times we don't even realize it. Sometimes we can get in a mode where we feel like we're the role models, and yet we don't even recognize that when we keep posting pictures of ourselves, that we too are looking for validation. We're not just serving as a piece of inspiration. So
Yeah.
that's another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, very true. Good point for sure.
Hmm.
So once again, we're coming up on summertime, and I know you have a really cool tool that you use to help women through this. But for so many women, this is a time of strife. How do we stop feeling so self-conscious about going places like the beach or the pool or the gym or wherever it is we're going to go where we're going to be less clothed than our normal everyday life? How do we stop feeling so self-conscious about these things and stop looking and stop worrying about the fear of judgment from other people?
Well, okay, so for a couple of those examples with the like when you go to the gym, I know so many women who don't go to the gym because they feel self-conscious that people are looking at them. But
Right.
honestly, when I go to the gym, and you can say that I could be the rare case, but I'm pretty sure I'm not, that when I go to the gym, I don't look at anyone else. I'm just like, oh, I'm there to go on the machine and work on the weights, and then I leave.
Yeah.
And then keep in mind that when there could be some people judging wherever you go, whether it's the grocery store or the beach or the gym, but really like their opinions don't matter because they don't have any effect in your life. They don't have any impact on your value. You determine your value.
Yeah.
really. And so for those women who are feeling self-conscious to go to these different places, I say, you know what, start off with finding an outfit for these different situations that make you feel really comfortable. And I don't mean like an outfit that just hides yourself. I'm talking about an outfit that, you know, is practical for the situation, but will like show off your natural assets
Yeah.
and make you feel awesome about it. Like if you wear something that is gonna hide you, you're gonna feel like you need to keep hiding yourself. If
Yeah.
you're gonna wear something that's like gonna make you feel self-conscious for some reason, you are gonna feel self-conscious. So make sure you find something that makes you feel confident and that you're comfortable in, and shows off your natural assets. So start off with the wardrobe.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, back to the conversation about the gym, like, here's the thing. After going for a couple of days, A, you're going to feel more comfortable because you're used to the environment. B, you're going to feel so much better. Your energy levels are going to skyrocket. And even though you might be sore from that workout the day before, your body is going to feel stronger. And how many of us don't want to feel stronger? Like, that to me is what drives me to go to the gym. It's this feeling that I feel stronger, and I've got more stamina, and I'm more capable, and I can keep up with my grandchildren and all the crazy things that I have going on in my life. I can keep up because I'm choosing every single day to go in there and work out. And so I think those are important pieces to remember as well, is you're doing this for you. You're not doing this for whoever is in the gym that you think might be looking at you. Because
Exactly.
who cares?
Who cares? And you know what? If you see someone else who is like at the same fitness level as you, let's say it was the first time you went to a yoga class, and you see someone else whose first time it is also going to a yoga class, that's something for you guys to like bond with. That's a good icebreaker. Like, man, that was a tough class. Like, yeah, that was pretty awesome. Hey, what's your name? Hey, like, I think you're pretty awesome. Like, you know.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I totally agree with that. So one of the other things that you work with women on is feeling beautiful and comfortable in our own skin, no matter what anybody else thinks. How do you do that? What's the process of being able to get there in our mind?
Got it. So that's the whole process of like starting with acknowledging that you need to work on this. So that's step number one. Then step number two is figuring out the root cause. So that's a whole other like decoding and self-awareness and recognition. So that's step two. Then step three, you need to actually take action steps to actually address the problem, and just and actually do them, be accountable for that. And then step four, reevaluate where you're at, and then figure out where you need a few more action steps to go from there, essentially. And then and then eventually kind of think about like, oh my gosh, like look at all the progress I made. Look at how much I'm just looking at my own paper as opposed to looking at everyone else's test sheets, right? It's like the old saying, it's about the journey and not the destination. The destination is to love yourself unapologetically, but the journey is what really makes it a fun ride. And I mean a fun ride, I mean like there's gonna be ups and downs, there's gonna be like frustrations, there's gonna be scariness, there's gonna be laughter and joy and tears of joy and sadness. But when it's all over with, you're gonna realize like, gosh, I fought so hard for myself. I'm so proud of that.
Yeah.
And I'm stronger than I ever thought I ever was. And now I can give myself the credit that I deserve.
Wow, how empowering is that? That's amazing. I love that. I love that. So one of the other things that you tell your clients is to remember that they are enough. You are enough. You deserve to be happy, you deserve to be confident, and you deserve to be fulfilled. Can you talk with us about this for a moment?
That you deserve to be happy, and that yeah, like sometimes we do things for others and we're like, oh, it's not a big deal, or, oh, it's just, it's, you don't need to thank me. It's okay. We shy away from compliments. We shy away from the thank yous or I appreciate you, because we don't, we don't know how to take it. we don't know how to be happy about that. And sometimes for some of us, we don't actually believe it. We're like, no, 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 that person couldn't possibly be saying thank you for what I did. No. And sometimes there are people that take advantage of that too and make us and then twist it more and really just deepen it in our programming. And it's all about being able to say, you know what, I bake cookies really well. Like, dang it, I'm really great at this. Or, you know what, like, I did all this hard work, and yes, I do deserve a spa day. Like, it's about actually just saying, dang it, I own myself, and I love that. I think that's amazing, and I've come all this far, and I need to start believing that because I tell everyone else that too. Like if you're one of these people who are just so appreciative of what everyone else is doing, but when you do the moment you do the exact same thing and you're like, oh no, there's no big deal, like, oh, anyone can do it. It's like, okay, well, no, that's the point when you're like, no, dang it, I did do something really cool, and that makes me awesome.
Exactly, exactly. And I
Mhm.
think this idea that you're enough, I mean, so many women feel like they're not enough. And we're here to tell you, you're totally enough.
Mhm.
You're smart enough and you're pretty enough and you go and get the job done and you support your tribe and you do all these amazing things and you take care of your family. You are enough. Own
Mhm.
that. Be enough and own that. That is
Yeah.
so important for you to be able to reach out to your tribe and support them and do the amazing things that you do inside your life. So yes, you are enough.
Yeah.
Amy, this has been a fabulous conversation, and I know we're coming to the end of it once again, and I don't feel like we've talked to you near long enough, but is there anything else that we need to know about loving our body right now?
That sometimes, actually, no. Most of the time, it's a matter of that you lost the keys to yourself, to your cage, really. That you gave the keys to your cage away to other people, and you have complete power and control and entitlement to take those keys back. Because when you give those keys away to other people, they determine when you can come out of your cage, how much of yourself can come out of the cage, whether you're just like 1 foot out or 1 foot in, or just like you get to come out for 5 minutes and go back in for the rest of the day. Like, you have other people determine that for you. But really, like, you need to take those keys back because they were always yours. They were never theirs. And it's never too late to do that. So once you take those keys back, you get to let yourself out of that cage and never go back. You get to control that completely.
And I love that analogy because, like, how many times do we not go to a speaking engagement because we maybe still need to lose 20 pounds, or we don't show up on Facebook Live because maybe we haven't gotten our hair done, or we don't do something else that we totally want to do. We don't take our children or our grandchildren to the beach. We don't do this. We don't do that. That's keeping yourself locked in that cage. And that has nothing to do with what you really want to do inside your heart.
Exactly. I
I
mean,
love that you use that analogy.
thank you. I just want to add in that had I kept my old belief that I had to be a size 6 or below to find Mr. Right, and I had never taken that leap that I did that night, I would have never met the love of my life. I would not be married for 6 years and been together with the wonderful man he is for the last 9 years. My life would be completely different, and who knows, I would have just still been that girl who is up late at night on her computer alone in the dark, just looking
Yeah,
for that connection.
yeah, totally, for sure. Wow, this has been amazing information, and I appreciate you being here and sharing with us today. I think that this is going to resonate with a lot of women out here in our world. Before we let you go, though, how can people reach out to you if they just want to pick your brain about some ideas of how to love their body more, if they want to access your resources or perhaps work with you? How can they reach out to you?
So they can email me at amy@amylanci.com, and they can also download my free gift, which is the 2018 Summer Guide to Confidence. And if they want to read more about me, they can go to my website at www.amylanci.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Amy. I really, really appreciate it. Guys, those links are going to be found below this video. Make sure you click on those and take advantage of some of the resources that Amy is sharing with you today. Reach out to her, ask her questions, talk to her. She can totally help you figure out ways in which you can love your body now. Thank you so much for being part of the 2018 Premier International Women's Business Systems Virtual Summit, and we will see you in the next interview. Bye, everyone.
Bye.